Come along as we share stories of purpose-driven individuals who propel nonprofits into the spotlight and make a lasting impact on the world. In this episode, Sonia Davis shares with us the ways she inspires others to create and tells us the story behind her nonprofit and new book. I'm your host, Jamila Robinson, and you're watching Elevate Your Impact. Hi, I'm Jamila Robinson, the host of Elevate Your Impact. And joining us today is a creative force and a community advocate. Sonia Davis is the founder of the Jewelry Instructor's Bead Bar and the nonprofit Never Starving Artists. Through her business, she empowers others through creativity. And through her nonprofit, she's on a mission to support artists, especially those in underserved communities, by creating access, exposure, and opportunity. We're talking about turning creativity into community impact and what it takes to build both a business and a nonprofit that feeds the soul. Welcome to the show, friend.
Thank you.
Yes.
Glad to be here.
I'm so glad. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner, but here we are, right?
It's all in God's time.
Oh my goodness, you're so right. This is God's timing for us to sit down and talk in front of a camera, because we talk all the time.
Yeah.
So let's hop into it. You've been creating jewelry for over 30 years. What inspires you to keep going?
Creativity for me quiets the noise. I stopped for 7 years at one point, and I had a friend to come to me and say, hey, I bought these 2 necklaces at a little boutique, but they didn't have earrings or a bracelet to match. And she brought it to me, and I said, I haven't done this in so long. She talked me into it. I pulled out all of my beads from the attic, and I asked myself immediately, why did I stop? Immediately, the noise began to subside when I started creating again.
That's lovely. So I had an opportunity to tour the Bead Bar. It's amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Walk us through the experience of what somebody gets here when they enter the building.
They walk through the door and they go, wow, I've seen this online, but this is not what I expected. And they say things like, this place is joyful, it's colorful, it has a vibe. And then a couple of them have asked me, do you feel that? And I'm going, feel what? And they say, this place is a vibe. So that's what I get when
they are so right. It is an entire vibe. As we both know, I've hosted a few events here, and everybody leaves with joy and a piece of joy to take with them. Yeah. So it's an awesome experience to be a participant here and to watch others give and receive joy. Like, it's like an exchange between people. Would you say that?
I would. And one of the things that I do always say, and from the beginning, before this place even took off the way it did, I used to say it's not just about the beads, it's about the experience. Because when you mention jewelry making to some people, they go, oh, I'm not into that, I don't do that. But it's not even about that. It's about the camaraderie. It's about the peace that you get when you sit down and start to create, because you're working that side of the brain that shuts off the side of the brain that has anxiety, worry, distraction, and all of those things. So once they realize that, they come back.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So Sonia, what's your vision for the future of the Bead Bar?
So my vision for the future of the Bead Bar is to spread creativity all over the world, not just communities. So I plan on franchising.
Yes. There's going to be more of these opportunities to create and build joy. Yes. I love that. You mentioned on Instagram that over 31 years ago, you had an idea for a book. And it's finally come to fruition. You just published it. Tell us more about Sandy Makes the Nest.
Well, this is going to be kind of a long story, but I'm going to try to wrap it up in a couple of minutes.
Come on, bring it to us.
So over 31 years ago, my daughter now is 31 and a half years old. So it wasn't over 31 years ago. It was about 30 years ago. She was almost 2 at the time. and she asked me what a lady of the night was. I was in shock, and all I could think of
What
is...
did you say?
I said, honey, after I lost my thought.
Yes.
I said, that's a lady that when everybody's asleep, she goes to make groceries. And then,
and you apologize to God for that lie.
Yeah, well, and then I went to work, and where I worked at the time, all we did was input data, so I couldn't talk to anybody, and my mind was just going. I was creating then and didn't realize I had all this creativity in me.
Yes.
And it came out to be a book that I call Potholes. Now, of course, this is not potholes.
It's not.
When I sat down to talk to a mentor about writing my book, of course, we had a discovery session, and I started to tell her how I stayed away from creativity for a long time because there was a teacher that scorned me about a sculpture that I was supposed to do out of a bar of soap. And that's another book. And then I told her that teacher also scorned me about how I made an S. So that's how Sandy Makes an S came about. My nickname is Sandy, and that's what my father nicknamed me Sandy. And so I decided to change Sonia to Sandy. And then there's a lot of fiction in the book, but then there's also some nonfiction as well, based on the story that it derived from. So I'm so proud of it. As of March the 31st, I had no idea I would be publishing my first children's book in less than 3 weeks. I did it by my birthday. It will be on Amazon, available real soon for purchase. But I'm very, very excited because Sandy Makes is now going to be a series.
That's amazing. And when you have it published on Amazon, we'll, of course, put the link in the video description.
Okay.
And I've had a chance to read it. You also shared with me that this story has resonated with a lot of other people.
Yes.
Like you learned that you weren't the only one going through that type of trauma, right?
Yes. The day that I debuted the book was a birthday, during the week of my birthday, my birthday was a Tuesday.
Yes.
So Saturday we had a party, and it was my mom and my celebration and the debut of Sandy Makes an S. And my brother walks in and he picks up the book and he starts to read it, and he says how proud of me he was because I didn't tell anybody. And then he started to read it and he said, "Come here, sit down." I said, "What? You're not going to believe this." I said, "What?" He said the same thing happened to me, that he was drawing a picture. The teacher asked him to draw pictures of animals. And when the teacher came around to him, the teacher stated to him, "You didn't do what I asked. You drew that you traced that picture." And he was looking like, as kids way back 40, 50 years ago, we were very respectable.
Right.
And she gave him an F.
Wow.
And then he later realized as he got older, how can I trace when I'm drawing on manila paper? So he came to me and said how this book resonated with him in several instances coming up as a child when we were very guarded and quiet and respectable, and we didn't voice how we felt at that time. So things just happened, and we kind of let it roll off our backs, because once you leave that classroom or wherever that situation is, you're a child again. You're ready to hop, skip, jump rope, whatever. But yeah, he gave me his story and several others. There was one lady that I met we go out and we provide creativity in the senior facilities.
Yes.
And one lady came in and she saw the title of the book and she said, "Oh my God, I got in trouble so much about the way I wrote my S's when I was a child. I want one." And I said, "Well, how did you write your S's?" And she was talking about how she made hers look like a snake. And I said, "Turn the page."
That's in the book, guys. It's in the book. Oh, man. Thank you for bringing up the work that you do in the community, because I want to switch lanes over to Never Starving Artists. So what inspired you to start Never Starving Artists and to focus on providing arts and music instruction to the other underserved community?
I tell you what, it was never intentional.
Okay.
My husband's a musician. He's been playing for years and years. He plays with Conrad Johnson's stage band. And there was a member in their band. These guys would put on their tuxedos and go out and play for the elite. And there was this one guy in the band that came home one day, got bit by a mosquito because he had a hole in his floor and in his roof. And he passed away from meningitis. That broke my heart. My husband really, I mean, they were buddies, and it really affected the both of us. And I thought about it, and I said, my goodness, why did this happen? And then I would hear stories about artists, and people would say they were starving, and I'm like, they're not starving. I'm in a creative facility where artists are putting paintings on the wall, and they're making tens of thousands of dollars. So it's not that artists are starving, it's their inability to be able to support themselves socially and economically. Like some artists are introverts, so they're not gonna go out and promote themselves, or the promotion wasn't there. But it's just the fact that they're underserved.
Yes.
Because if they were on platforms or with people that could support them in their artistry, instead of tell them, no, don't do that, go play basketball, be a doctor, but you won't make money being an artist. If you hear that all of your life or most of your life, then you shun away from the things that you love, and your heart yearns for that. And as you become an adult, some of that stuff that's embedded in you that's trying to get out comes out in other ways, and then you have to seek therapy, right?
Yes.
Well, this is my therapy.
Yes.
Because I was one of those. I suffered from depression. I was put on medication. I don't take medicine anymore. I make sure that I stay away from toxic people, situations, and I come to my places of joy, and that's creativity.
Which quiets the noise. Yes. So tell us how you support artists through your mission of Never Starving Artists.
Never Starving Artists provides opportunities financially for musicians, artists, and creative businesses to serve underserved communities with their gifts and talents.
Nice.
And those opportunities can also mean more exposure and better relationships, and just putting people's eyes on what they do so that they could support themselves with their artistry.
That's beautiful. So how can we as the community support Never Starving Artists?
So Never Starving Artists, you could go to our website at neverstarvingartists.org, and that's artists with an S on the end, it's plural. So the neverstarvingartists.org, neverstarvingartists.org.
Awesome. And you've made some amazing shirts that benefit the nonprofit, right?
Yes, so creativity quiets the noise is something that I say to everybody when they come at me and say, oh, I'm not creative. Oh, this is a whole nother spiel. I can't, when they say that, I go in, especially if you're a believer. I go, the first book of the Bible says what? In the beginning, God did what? He created. So creativity is in our DNA.
That's
so
right.
He gives us the gifts and the talents in our hands, and our gifts and talents should do what? Make room for us.
That's right.
So when I tell them that, they can't combat me on whether or not they're creative. They just come on in and take a seat and they create.
What other words do you have? It's like, yes, ma'am, let me get to work.
Yeah, so we do that. And then I also tell, and they also say when they start to create, this is so relaxing, this is therapeutic. And I say, yes, it's quieting the noise. So creativity quiets the noise. So the t-shirts that we have, along with Sandy Makes, is going to be one of our initiatives to bring in more funds and donations and opportunities so that we can support those artists, musicians, and creative businesses that are struggling to make an impact in the community.
Yes. So we can support you by purchasing the book and the shirt.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love how your worlds have just kind of collided to make the Sonia in front of me. You're amazing. You're amazing. And people get touched by you in different facets. So one other question. So you are our Nonprofit Networking Mixer's Big Give Back winner.
Thank you.
Yes. And we are so happy
excited
to support your charity with some tangible gifts. What should we tell participants to bring to this networking mixer? And even if they aren't able to attend because this video is in the past, like what can they bring to support you?
So if they're physically coming, of course, if they can't come, or if they much rather, we'd like financial donations. Any nonprofit would. But some of the things that we would like is, because we serve the senior community, if they could buy beads, if they could buy beading supplies, canvases, preferably 8.5 by 11, no larger than that, that they could do their meditative art on, because those are the things that we're doing in communities. Markers, paints, those probably are the things that we spend a lot of money on. Oh, you know what else that's really cool is napkins. If you're in a dollar store, or one of those novelty stores like Five and Below and all those other type of stores, and you see some really nice napkins,
like different colors,
colors with beautiful patterns. So around the studio, you will see. As a matter of fact, here. That was a napkin. So I teach them how to separate the plies and make art out of napkins. And so that's some of the things that I'm going to be doing with the seniors and the youth as well.
Amazing. Thank you for sitting down with me today, friend, and sharing about you and all of the creativity that comes from what you put in the world.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of Elevate Your Impact.